Book Greetings. I am so excited because today we're reading And They'll Come Home, which is the sequel to Along Came a Spider, which is my Little Miss Muffet hacker retelling. Now, don't worry, it's not a spoiler. We are still good to go with this because it is from another character's perspective. So in Along Came a Spider, Little Miss Muffet is a computer hacker. She's the ultimate computer hacker, and she is poised as the leader of the Legends hacker group. Now, what the evil villain doesn't know is that even though Miss Muffet has decided to portray herself as the figurehead, Little Bo Peep is actually the one he wants. So when he captures Little Bo Peep, thinking he can trade Bo Peep, an underling, for the fake leader, Little Miss Muffet, he actually doesn't realize that he has their boss and leader there. It is a real true thing. And so we are going to be jumping in and reading Little Bo Peep's point of view. We also get to meet in this book Spider, which is a hacker that they have recruited. He is working with them, and he may or may not be a double agent. His brother is involved in this story, and we are going to be chatting about him today. If you're joining me live, go ahead and let me know that you are here and that you're hanging out with me. I see that we are still maybe having some tech issues because it doesn't say that anybody is here. So if you're here, please let me know that you can see me. Good. Okay. So you are here and that you can see things. Thank goodness. It's saying that you're not here, but I'm glad that you're here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to read this. So let me tell you a little bit about And They'll Come Home. Little hacker Peep was taken from her sheep, and they don't know where to find her. They won't leave it alone. They'll bring her home, and they'll drag the piper behind them. When Peep, the leader of the hacker group, the Legends, is abducted and held for ransom, she must try to help her best friend Muffet to find where she is being held at the wall and save her people without giving away her true role in the group. When Arach is separated from his brother Spider, he must continue to play the piper's game, convincing him that what remains of his family is working for the villain that they are trying to destroy, all while convincing his former rival Peep to trust him as he tries to untangle their web of lies. So we are going to jump in, and we are going to be able to read this together, and you can see and hear me. Thank goodness. We've been having nothing but tech issues today, but I'm so glad that you guys are here and you can finally hear and see me as we are reading And They'll Come Home today. So this is the sequel to Along Came a Spider. Along Came a Spider is free in ebook form, so you guys can grab that if you want. And this is not a spoiler, so you're good to go on this one. And we're going to read this together on screen today. If you have questions on this, go ahead and ask, and we will get those answered as soon as we are done with this. And by the way, both Along Came a Spider and They'll Come Home are actually surprise releases. So I didn't tell anybody these books were going to be published, period. And then I surprise dropped them, and they both hit #1 in all of their categories on the day that they released. So bestseller status right there. All right, let's go ahead. Let's jump in and let's get this read. I see that y'all are here joining me and jumping in. So let's do this together. We're going to read the first chapter. You shouldn't have done that, the man grinned at Peep, eyes narrowing when she glared back. That was a bad choice. So was your outfit, Peep hissed. Her fingers curled like cat claws behind her back, only stretching as far as the zip ties would allow. The plastic bit into her skin. Settle down, young one. You're going to be here for a while, so you might as well get comfortable, he smirked at her, at least as comfortable as you can. The bag over Peep's head had knocked her hair on her face. Pieces of it still lingered, dancing in front of her because of the static caused by the bag being ripped away. She blew a quick puff of air, hoping to move the annoying strands. What do you want, Piper? Peep growled. Oh, Piper drawled, so you know me. Your boss taught you well, I see. Boss? Shame, he continued. I would have loved to have offered you a job. You'd have been happy on my team, Peep. Ah, well, we work with what we have. Settle in, Peep. He walked around her, inspecting her. Oh, should I call you Bo? If her uncle were still alive, she would have decked him for talking her mother into that name. She hated it and the girlfriend that inspired her uncle just long enough to name her before she disappeared a few days later. That woman never should have been let near the pregnant lady. Piper turned and walked out the door, leaving Peep to sit in silence. The moment he was gone, Peep pulled at her wrist, trying to free herself. Her arm brushed against the chair as scraping noise filled the large room. When she couldn't break it, she turned her attention to finding an escape once she found the upper hand. The room was brighter than it should have been as the light shifted through the minimalist window high above. Metal walls grew into an unimpressive point at the center of the ceiling. The room had a slight blue tint to it, though nothing like the glow of the computer screens. That was there too. Peep shivered as a cool breeze blew across the floor where Piper had opened the door moments ago. The hall must be freezing if it were still so strong. The shivering didn't help to break the restraint, even though it might have been no, sorry, guys, y'all. Cool. The shivering didn't help to break the restraint, even though it might have been violent enough. As quietly as she could, Peep scooted across the floor, making sure there were no motion sensors or cameras watching her. She assumed if there had been, her movements would have caused someone to check on her. That, or they wanted to see how she would try to escape. Instead, she made her way to a cushier office chair. Laying her head down on the seat, she rested on the floor, waiting for Piper to return. The puffy cap sleeve poked annoyingly in her face. Her eyes memorized every inch of the room, calculating an escape, searching for weapons, and hoping she could survive her captivity. She noted a few places to be careful of. Knowing Piper, she assumed torture wasn't out of the question. She pinpointed exactly where she needed to never set foot. Peep curled her legs up around her, sitting sideways so that she didn't throw her back out, the last thing she needed, and took a deep breath. Her uncle always told her to breathe deeply when she needed to focus and stay alert. The mind gets foggy, she whispers, not bothering to finish the thought. No need to give Piper the idea of restricting her airflow and helping the foggy process along. Minutes passed. Peep's mind wanted to drift, but she held her focus. She wouldn't give Piper the upper hand. Finally, the door opened again. Piper closed it behind him as he strode toward Peep. He brushed by a table, knocking into a pad of paper on a clipboard sitting on the edge. The metal marble bounced to the ground, rolling across the floor. It scraped along, irritating Peep. When I said to make yourself comfortable, I didn't actually think you'd do it, Piper commented, picking up the clipboard. Now, Peep, we need to have a little conversation. I need to know about the legends. No. Tisk, tisk, Peep. I wasn't finished, he chastised her. I need to know how to reach them. I don't know. She leveled a glare at him as he pulled a chair and sat in front of her. Peep straightened when he shifted closer, propping her elbow on the chair behind her. It rolled back half an inch. She gripped her wrist to steady herself, wrapping her finger around them as one wrist rested on top of the other. Piper eyed her. I want to talk to Muffet, he tried again. And I want to talk to the man who developed the Arach system, but we can't always get what we want, now can we? Listen up, Peep. You don't have to make this hard on yourself. You can move on from this rather quickly. All you have to do is tell me how to reach Muffet. No. Peep lifted her top leg and kicked out, connecting with Piper's shin. They yelped at the same time, Piper in pain, Peep in surprise as the chair kicked out from behind her. She righted herself before Piper could, swinging back to watch him falter. The door burst open, slamming against the metallic walls as she righted herself. The man that entered was tall and built. Peep only had enough time to take stock of his large arms and black muscle shirt before Piper ordered him out. Piper turned his attention to Peep. You failed, Peep, he commented, crossing his arm over his knee, still rubbing the spot where she had kicked him. The good news is that I don't need you. I already know how to reach your boss. I just needed to find out if you were going to play along or not. I guess we'll have to do this in a more complicated way. He sighed as if he actually cared what her decision had been. No matter. Let me tell you how this is going to go. Piper gave her a terse smile. We're about to send Muffet on a little mission. You see, I have certain things that need to be accomplished rather quickly. Now, I could do them myself, but it's so much easier to let her do all the work. I'm convinced she has access to some things I can't get a hold of at the moment anyway. In a few moments, we're going to call her, you and I. We're going to make sure she's properly motivated. I need Muffet to do my dirty work, Peep, but I also need her. Why? Peep cut him off as he paused for a breath. She's the leader of the legends, Peep. She has something I need. Peep's mind swirled, the entire room bobbing in a grand sweeping motion. What did he want? I can see you're trying to work this out, little girl, but you're wasting your time. Only the leader of the legends knows. Suddenly, she knew exactly what he wanted. She also realized that Fett's plan to act like the leader of the legends had worked. They had tricked even Piper. Fett had been brilliant to suggest taking the lead and acting as Peep's shield in preparation for something like this to ever happen. How easy it would have been for Piper to win. He had Peep. She had no escape, and she had all the answers. Distraction would be her friend now. Time to earn your keep, little girl. Piper reached down and grabbed Peep's elbow, jerking her to her feet. She unsteadily got to her feet beneath her. She unsteadily got her feet beneath her just before Piper dragged his chair over and slammed her into it. Here we go, Piper sang as he clicked the device into a tripod to steady it. Peep glared at him as he lifted his device and made contact. Behave. he warned. Tell her to cooperate or you will be hurt. Tell her you fear for your life. Do whatever you need to do. Just move her into action. I want this handled today. A beep sounded, followed by static as someone outside let Piper know that they had turned their cloaking device on. It sizzled through the air. Whatever Piper said would be digitally altered. She assumed it had been specifically set to his voice and wouldn't change hers since Fett actually needed to hear her. Piper watched the screen, looking up at her only when it came alive with light, indicating that they were live. The noise of the Legends headquarters filled the room. She could hear T and BB talking in the background. Her boyfriend sounded annoyed. Muffet, don't do it, Peep screeched. She didn't want, Muffet, don't do it, Peep screeched. She didn't know how to warn Fett that Piper was behind her kidnapping, but she hoped Fett would notice that she had purposely used the longer version of her name. That, at least, should have indicated that more was at play. Piper sneered at her, lunging forward to slap her. His hand stung as it connected with her skin. Peep fell out of the chair, slamming into the ground, taking the brunt of it on her shoulder. She would hurt later. As she attempted to right herself, she thought she registered a gasp in the background, but couldn't tell who it was. Hello again, Muffet. I see you received my first message. So glad we could connect. If you want your lackey alive, crack the code, fix the problem. I'll be in touch with your first puzzle, Piper said gleefully. He was overwhelmingly delighted at the idea of sending Fett on a wild goose chase to save Peep. She knew Piper would never actually let her go. Muffet, don't! Get out now! Peep screamed, praying she wouldn't get cut off. Piper backhanded her, this time sending Peep crashing into the chair she had just vacated. You stupid girl, Piper bellowed, stalking over to the device to make sure the recording was off. When he discovered that his lackey had controlled the demise of the feed, he looked up, glaring at Peep. Heavy footsteps pounded toward her, and she braced herself, eyes clamping shut despite her wishes. Piper grabbed Peep's purple-tipped hair, dragging her up. She fought to find her footing as her hair was nearly ripped from her skull. You'll pay for that, he spat at her. I'm sure I will, Peep taunted through gritted teeth. His breath was hot against her face. She cringed as he lingered, allowing his rage to calm down before addressing her again. Piper dropped her hair and used his hand to slam down on her shoulder, forcing her back into the chair. She didn't fight. He straightened his shoulders, taking a deep breath. Without another word, he spun on his heels and stomped out of the room, leaving Peep to attempt to control her shaking. Once he was done, her eyes darted around the room. Piper had taken his device with him, and all other technology seemed to be on lockdown. She wouldn't have been able to hack it with her hands behind her back anyway. The slow creak at the door drew her attention. A man walked in, approaching her. It was the same musclehead from before. He stepped toward her cautiously as if she might bite him at any moment. He was at least 3 times her size and towered a foot above her. Red hair stuck out from his arms, goosebumps running the length of his skin from the chill in the room. His short-trimmed beard twitched when he set his jaw. Easy, he warned her, only 2 steps away. Panic coursed through her. This wasn't right. The thought slipped away as the rag covered her face, lulling her into darkness. And that's the first chapter. In the next chapter, we're actually going to meet Arach, who is Spider's brother. We're going to figure out if he is a good or a bad kind of a guy. It's lots and lots of fun. Brianna, you're loving this format. Peep is savage. Peep is savage. That girl, oh my gosh, she is like, she's gonna destroy people, and I love it. She is sassy, she has attitude, and her fashion is amazing, but Peep also has attitude, and her fashion is great too. I love these two. If you guys have not seen the character art over on my website of Peep and of Muffet, you absolutely should. You can kind of see her right here, but like, these girls have fashion. These are fun cosplays for TikTok, all I'm saying. You wouldn't be surprised if she bit him, which you corrected in the comments. Yeah, no, she would bite. Yes, she's a biter. Both of my leading ladies in this series will 100% bite if needed. They will go for the eyes. All right, if you guys have questions on this, I would love to get those answered for just a minute or two as we're here hanging out. You can learn more about this over on the world portals on kmrobinsonbooks.com. You can check out fan art. You can see character art that we've created. You can get cosplay ideas. The first book in this series is free and tells Little Miss Muffet's side of the story and Spider's side of the story, where the sequel, And They'll Come Home, tells Little Bo Peep's point of view in captivity and Arach's point of view, who is connected to Spider in a very interesting kind of way. I've told you a little bit about how they are related and connected, but the brothers may or may not have very different viewpoints on certain things. I also have a number of bonus scenes from the Legends Chronicles just floating around my social media, so you can actually see the brothers interacting before the series takes place. You can learn a little bit about Muffet before she joined the hackers. We actually can find out in these bonus scenes how the Legends building came to be, so how the hacker group found their home base. And those are just hidden around my social media, so y'all can go look for those. They are super fun to read and learn a little bit more about this series. But there's some cool stuff out there for you. And of course, you know, we do our live readings every single Wednesday at 11 a.m. here on YouTube and on Facebook. At this point, we've gone through most of my first books. I can't really get into the second books because spoilers. So we're going to read more of some of my books, but we'll also be reading some of my friends' books as well once we have permission, because, you know, copyright infringement. So let me know, which of my books do you want to hear from? You can get more of my live readings here on the YouTube channel and on Facebook, so you can go back and look at any of those live readings. And then I want to hear which of my author friends you would like to see me reading from. I will contact them and see if we can get permission to do some of those readings as well. We will be going live here on the YouTube page at 3 p.m. Eastern, so set your alarms on your phone now. We're going to be building book covers together on air, and you guys get to help me make decisions on what models I'm using, what backgrounds I'm using, what the fake title is, the fake taglines, all those fun, fabulous things. And we are going to be jumping in at 3 p.m. to do that live together. And if you are not here on the YouTube page, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Please leave a comment down below the video. The ones coming in the chat room, those don't count toward my statistics. My phone thinks I'm talking to it. Those don't count toward the statistics. So if you could also leave a comment down here about how excited you are for this book, or if you're interested in reading it, who you think your favorite character would be, if you're going to be more of a Team Muffet or a Team Bo Peep kind of person, go ahead and let me know in the comments. So that I can get those points for that. And then make sure you check out the new episode of the Show Me How You Write series that we dropped here on YouTube. Tomorrow, my very first author vlog is coming out. It is a behind the scenes of how I do the author or the reader convo series over on TikTok. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on that one. And we're going to be dropping some replays of recent live streams on TikTok and on Instagram. So check those out. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I will see you in our next live reading and in multiple live streams coming up this week.